Welcome to the Audit 15 Fun podcast. My goal with this podcast is to bring relevant internal audit topics to the table at least every 15 days. And today I have again my friend Alex Huhl, CEO of ZAP Alliance in Germany. Welcome, Alex, again to the podcast. Honored to have you on, my friend.
You're welcome, John. Good to be here.
Yeah,
And thank you for having
absolutely.
me again.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing a series here, a short video series on the zapBot tool that you and your team created. In the last episode, we cover invoice data extraction and how you can use that data to automate certain processes. So now we're going to get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty, a little bit more into the details of how it works behind the scenes and how people can create their own local LLM. So I will let you get started there, Alex.
Thanks, John. And I guess this is the perfect starting point where we left off in our last video to explain. We explained what are the use cases last time, and we explained how we can analyze invoices. But in the end, the internal auditors or whoever is interested in a company perspective should understand the general setup, not the details of some algorithms, but the general setup, how things work. Because, for example, we had the Hamburg auditors meeting last week, and I was talking to the auditors, and I explained what we do. And the first things that come up, of course, ooh, what are the risks of the bot? Where does
Right.
the information go? Um, I used ChatGPT once and it told me BS. That can't be. And you will face these things if you try to experiment with AI in your company. And the objective of this video is to give you a brief overview of what you could do and how you can address these things, because I experienced it already quite often. That's why I'd like to bring that to you. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I know you've been using it for quite a bit. You built your own, you and your team built your own tool there. So we'll, I think it's very valuable information here to the community to know how it works behind the scenes and maybe some of those risks that people are concerned about, how we can address it. So
Yes. So I'll start again, shows the zapBot shortly. And I will drop out afterwards into a presentation just to one overview slide. So what you see here is the invoice assistant that we've seen last time. The bot is available to anyone. It's free of charge. Just go there and use it and try it. It has these documents here and in the main, so it's PDF documents in the background, several invoices. This is important for the picture to come. And we have uploaded these invoices here, and I'll demonstrate and show what we do internally in the background with the information there and how we process the information. Okay. And last time in the last video, we showed what the AI is doing with such a prompt and how the information is extracted and what the answer was. And I'll press send. And after a few minutes, you get a result. And the fun question is, what
yeah,
happens currently? And this is what I'm going to show when pressing generating, okay? What happened in that time frame? And the answer is clear. Now I'm going to switch back to the presentation. So I'll stop sharing and I will share again. Okay.
we're gonna get into the back end data there, what happened behind the
Well, it's
scenes.
well, it's a presentation, and you will see it's not pretty. But it's not supposed to be pretty. I'm not selling something. I'm trying to explain what is in the background. Okay. For anyone curious, I'm from the clients, and the ARIC is the Artificial Intelligence Center Hamburg, and those folks help the Hamburg community quite a lot when it comes to AI. Basically, being at the pace of time and speed of AI currently, which is incredible. Um, So they help us here. So don't laugh, please. So this is what we're going to explain now. And please have a look at the zapBot, because this is where we started. When showing in the beginning, I showed some PDFs in the document view, and these PDFs were uploaded to our appliance server, where the entire thing is currently running. And the information from the PDF in a text field, of course, you can use OCR to read pictures and from the pictures extract the text. Better and better. What Llama does is it takes the information, your private information, and does with it what you want. It indexes the information, for example, and saves it in a vectorized database. You don't need to save it, but then it would even take longer than you just seen. So we basically uploaded the PDF information to the Llama index, and the Llama index did some vectorized analytics and saved these vectors to the database. But why does Llama do that? Well, because currently the algorithms that you can access in OpenAI, which is our bot is still connected to OpenAI, only allow a certain amount of limited chunks to be processed. And that limitation in terms of size doesn't allow you to put like the entire IPPF to the OpenAI. It wouldn't process.
Gotcha.
So
yes.
So what Llama does, it makes that information, it vectorizes that information and provides the context already in a neat way. And you need to do that by use case. So it's a different use case to analyze the IPPF document than if you would like to analyze these PDFs. It's different use cases, and you need to configure the Llama differently from the vector size.
Okay. So it's going through Llama because of the limitations with OpenAI.
Yes.
Like
and any
size
system.
Limitations. Yeah.
Yes, any limitations. And it costs money to process large amounts of information. So Llama is kind of smart in compromising in a contextual way the information you put in. Okay, so that is now saved here in that vectorized database. And now your question comes in, your query that we just sent in or entered into the zapBot. And that zapBot question is sent to Llama index also. And Llama now searches in the database, in the vectorized database, for these chunks, not the entire information, but for these chunks, and uses that and combines it to send the information combined currently to OpenAI. Yeah. The key thing here is you can configure a large language model by two ways. Yes, you can customize it, or you can do so-called in-context learning. And this is what OpenAI started with and is really good at. And Llama is exactly what that in-context learning is. You tell the AI exactly what it should do. And you provide basically a prompt and already the chunks of information that the index should use, because it's in the end, it's a language model. It's good at understanding context and providing good answers to it. So Llama really prepares your query, which needs to be exact and good, takes the information, your private information from your company, combines these things into one query, and you could see it as in-context learning for OpenAI model or whatever model you use, okay? And gives it to OpenAI, and then the answer comes back to the zapBot just as we have seen a minute ago in the zapBot. So this happens in the background. And what you can already see is it still is, the Llama provides the information in the cloud to OpenAI. And you can imagine that shouldn't happen for company-specific information. They are just confidential. So this is why you see the Azure private cloud up here. This is Hugging Face. It's the hottest chicken town currently in the AI world.
Okay.
It's like an entire ecosystem with dozens of large language models. For every use case, you have different models, and you can use all of them. And Microsoft with Azure has actually provided an environment where they ensure that all of these models are always at the latest stage of the open source community, and you can use whatever they want. It's like a private as a service large language model.
Okay, two questions. We'll go back to the Azure private
Mhm.
cloud because there are no arrows pointing there. So for the users like me who are like, "Oh, what's going on here?"
Auditors, what's going on?
uh, so back to the initial when you had the conversation with the audit community there, and what are the risks and should I be okay? Like, so from your, I think this is a great flow chart of how the information is flowing. Where is the risk here, if any, that you see? In what
Mhm.
section here do you see risk, and what can you say to those who are not comfortable with that to make it them be a little more comfortable about it?
So I will not start with security risk yet. Let's start with quality risks. The biggest challenges we faced so far are with that you have good information that are entered into the Llama. So we need to ensure, and this is the risk that we need to audit at some point in time for sure,
Mm-hmm.
how good are the algorithms that analyze the invoice information and provide it to Llama Index that is then stored to the vectorized database. How is Llama configured, customized? Yeah. So how does Llama basically save the vector? To give you an example, we started using these invoice analysis with the customization of Llama for the IPPF question we had. But it's a total different story analyzing a 108 pages and how you store that information in the database than if you analyze just 2 pages invoice or 1 page invoice. It's a different story. Of course, it's a different way you store data. So it really makes a difference. A business auditor cannot audit that in detail. That needs to be a really knowledgeable person.
Mm-hmm.
The objective of this video is to explain the bigger picture,
Yeah.
so that we are able to have a big view on these things. So whenever there's an error here, there can be errors in here. Of course, the query can be incorrect. You have a risk here from zapBot to Llama. If your query is bad, you won't get the information you want.
Okay.
So you need to know how to query the PDF documents. For example, if you have a PDF document created out of a picture, you of course have to um, work on getting the picture to data. Um, obviously, there are algorithms to it. So you need to ensure that the quality of the input is high. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, two things come to mind there. Garbage in, garbage out, right? So got to make sure
Yes.
the data going in is good. And like you mentioned, the configuration, that translation is funny because just yesterday I was watching something about self-driving cars. And one of the things that they said is that they have a hard time reading if someone is telling the car to stop or if someone is asking for a ride. So how,
Yes.
how is the artificial intelligence, how is the artificial intelligence translating the information? So, okay, I think
Mhm.
that's a uh,
Yes. And
good thing to
again,
keep in mind, right?
it's a good thing to keep in mind. And it's the same story. Um, what we do here on the left side is we prepare the information and the prompt to OpenAI to the large language model in a way that it can work with it. And this is key. So the entire left side is providing quality to a prompt in a business context for private information. So we're giving the information from our private document with our query together in a smart way, in a lean way to an
Mm-hmm.
LLM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still open AI, and you can tell, and that's the next risk that we have. Um, there are basically two things, or two ways you can customize the open AI large language model. And this is important because I just told the story about the Hamburg audit making, and hallucination of AI models is probably most talked about out there. And a so-called temperature is the one configuration you can do. The temperature explains the randomness of the answer. Okay. If you go a temperature to 0 degrees, there is no left and right. It's either the answer or not. But for example, if the temperature is 0 and the LLM doesn't have the answer, there's no answer. And it tells you to. So you can play with the hallucination by using these interfaces. Okay. So this is the randomness. And the second one is the probability, the relevance. So you can tell the large language model how the probability in the end, it's just statistics, the probability level that you want to have. So you can choose the temperature level, which
Mm-hmm.
is the randomness, and you can play with the relevance of the. Okay, these are two things, and this I think everyone can understand what everyone use ChatGPT knows what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's about how you prompt. So I think
Yes.
that's definitely a big part
Yes,
of it.
and this is part of the prompt that we sent the in context learning with. Tell me the temperature 0 degrees. No left or right. I want to know what's on the invoice. Don't fool me. Don't experiment. Tell me what it is, or tell me you don't know. Okay.
Right, right.
So
Which you made it clear in the last video. If you don't know, say not found. So
yes,
so let me
exactly.
ask you about the Azure private cloud that's
Yes.
there hanging by itself. And you kind of cover, but for those who are like me and I like, I want to know
You're an auditor.
a little bit more in layman's terms there. What is it doing there? Why there's no connection there yet?
This is the future, and not next year. This is the future, most likely next week or the week after. Um, my data science teams is, you can imagine, they are tired, they are excited at the same time. These times are fast-pacing fun, and Hugging Face truly is their baby currently, and um, we want to get rid of OpenAI here to really work with the invoices of our customers to connect our AI that we already have for Zapcash, identifying duplicate recorded invoices in SAP. And the manual step that an auditor needs to do is to really get into the SAP system, open FBO3 transaction for the one invoice, for the other invoice, have these invoices here and there and compare. You know what? We can automate that.
There you go.
And
I mean, yeah, and and there's security there, right? I think that's the important piece about it.
yes, of course, we are auditors. We know about the risks. We would not send private information to the cloud. We would not send personalized information to the cloud. All the invoices you see are the appliance invoices. So it's all about me and businesses from the past. No worries. So if you're aware of that, we need to build that private environment to start playing this.
Yes.
So looking forward to show these use cases that we have in the private cloud environment and how Hugging Face looks like and what it does. For the end user, probably not much, but it is the part of security that we need to continue in a safe environment with the speed of disrupting our businesses. Sorry, this is disrupting what we're currently talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think the end goal, right? Think about the big picture is automating a process that is
Yes,
manual, right? Because
yes,
looking at invoices, it's an alternative to what you mentioned at the beginning, OCR, right? Using LLMs to look at the data, go through that process, go through the llama index, it vectorizes it, it goes to OpenAI in context learning, and it gives you the answer that you need, and you can use it however you want, like we covered in the last episode. So, any other takeaways here for the community, Alex, as we close out this episode?
It again is about digital playfulness. This is the key for the future. We need to embrace ourselves. If you look at the post on LinkedIn of this week, I generated this picture of that little auditor, and like an auditor in a kid's meme, walking through the company with like a tie and everything. I don't wear ties anymore, but I love the picture because it demonstrates um, the mindfulness that we should have, and the playfulness that we should embrace.
Yeah, we're business professionals, but we can still play.
Yes.
So, all
So,
right. Thank you so
John,
much, Alex.
thank you. Have a great day and see you in Amsterdam.
All right. We'll see you there.